QRM Office, Beach Office 5522, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, October 27, 2021. I have a kid, and my son is an idiot. Kind of immature, and maybe it's something explained by genetic. And sometimes our legacy carry things that you left, like the association, at least scams, and pieces at the nepotism, and a lot of things. Sometimes advantage that goes since from ancient times, and these formed families on Europe. Some of those families remains at the power, but the design and society change, and this goes from time to time all around. The colonialism put the Brazil and America compared inside a security forum. The pattern which organized these two Western societies is the Constitution. Two both have a Constitution, and these two both societies at the Western indeed are part of the democracy and the constitutional system, which on present time has an association of brilliant minds on Europe to keep the integrity as Western society and have the declaration of some specific values guilty. Of course, that criminals are accustomed to deal and to use everything to hide themselves. Sometimes they will do this, and they had been doing this using institution, using speech about vulnerability or humanitarian values or concern, even environmental things. To avoid this hoax, which is the cognitive bias combined in our last conversation, we did the optimization of COBOL, considering the security system as benefit and payments on Europe, and we could observe this all around. And of course that this big failure at the Western financial system, integrating the global system as economy, put everybody in systematical crisis. And it's something not clever to have maybe a transnational organized crime scam so big as the covenant inside the financial system, especially after the optimization of COBOL, because you all got down. We could have our concern in a very fast moment to surround the bank system in a very specific area segmented, and this gave me the possibility as cross-cut, and I can put the cross-cut as public and corporate, and place the international on it by center of investment. And I will understand that this kind of activity helps me or helped us to do our procedure international as a comparative thing, and the division of conjunctures with a linkage as interface international by the investment and the need that you have, because you are unable to control your expenditures, especially using the other's budget. The prodigality is another mental problem at your mental diseases, cretinismus brasilis. And we had on present time that the qualification as positive one interval 1 is okay, is the outline considering the field of attraction for illicit purpose. The positive one is here. And then we will have crosses here as the positive one, intervallo, negative one. Trending to this line, we will have 0, 0 as positive one, which indeed are all inside the line. And we will have the 0, 0, negative one, which indeed are, knots, I would say, or check mark, which are kind of trying to get out of this line of criminality. All those players can offer me the positive one, intervallo negative one, because the public corruption and the use of regular fields to commit crimes, considering the new tracer as new T project violated by you, authorizing us to do the charge 33 trillion against you. With all things and this we explained, help me to understand that we can have some specific values, which indeed are the positive one, intervallo negative one, and the 0, 0 as negative one offer to us the criminals as real criminals, and the group as 0, 0 negative one, which can be, for instance, by the approach as the DBS, and inside a witness protection program. And sometimes the entire family must be on it, especially at cases which carries this legacy, like a genetic code which is based on corruption, because the corruption increased and turns something so big that you can hide at the combine thing, and you may be under international investigation, prosecution, and judgment, and they, you are all guilty by these values here. Then we will have the possibility to understand that we got this right now because I did this explanation, and we will check that you will understand that the positive one, negative one is always illegal. The public corruption is always crime. It means that you, criminal offender at international field, and you, criminal offender at the local field, will give this area here, because we said and we told you that we will put an extra pressure on you if this goes inside a space with a constitution, and we have this at the Brazilian constitution. In the same way in America, you can get charged by both if your flow as transference and financial stimulus leads to America, for instance. And I bet that you will spend your next 20 years in jail. Then we will have that the values 0, 0, positive one as real criminals, and the 0, 0, negative one, which is the criminals that are trying to, save their ass. Both can offer us the positive one, intervallo negative one, because the public corruption is always guilty, considering the reversal relation between the utilitarian level of the information presented by you, criminal groups, and the time to receive is something with a reversal association. If you spend too much time to give this, the privilege that you will be paying trend to 0, empty, and here you have 1, which implies 100%. Maybe you will suffer nothing as punishment, only a big loss at your financial result, which will be the surge of everything legal and a small financial punishment, but you will not be sent to jail or something like this. Maybe since we have these variables, positive one, inner-value -1 offered. And in the same way, this goes as a fractal behavior, which implies that I can have this at small piece, which will be projected into something a little bigger, and then this will be a kind of with more complexity and associative ways, and then we will form kind of our block, which is the pattern as Monte Carlo pattern from this area here. As you can observe, we are working with triple distribution of values, and we told that we are doing this. We have some instruments available, for instance, on IBM. If you consider, you have others, but on IBM we have them as top of mind, which is to understand the qualitative information as cognitive level at small units, considering the segmentation by the new tracer. You can have maybe the SMART, which is a platform for cognitive level, considering small pieces that got integrated by complexity, and this big cluster of information storage at the cloud. You can use perhaps the Watson that will offer you more complexity as cognitive level and support at your make decision, always having in mind that the mistake made by the machine as judgment is a consequence of the insertion as data by a variable. And this variable can be under the review of a machine, and indeed the machine has no mistakes, then and no feelings, and you will observe that this level as transference, as you can observe from a linear thing to a more complex argument with density, indeed points to the quantification of this environment. This is a key. We have the quantum research, but to obtain the value as a result of this thing here. But this transference, considering the risk as migration, we will use something named the deep blue. We did this optimization to put you on jail, and this day is finally coming. We will have maybe a triple Nobel Prize, names on history, cretinism, and the idiotism, and the stupidity last forever. We must switch this is something that can help the mankind and inspire others to, keep Western great. Have a nice weekend.